So, Anthony Eade is president of the Student Senate, and he's served in numerous leadership capacities in his time in the Student Senate. He's had 2 terms as Director of Public Relations on the Student Senate. He's been part of the Diversity and Inclusion Project, which successfully lobbied for a commitment for an LGBTQ coordinator. He's currently working on a naming policy for the university. He's also worked on the Smoke-Free Initiative, which I greatly appreciate, the Student Evaluation of Teaching Initiative, and the ECAS Committee, which helped with the improvement of the email system and got free Office 365 to the students. In his spare time, Anthony's pursuing a Master of Science in Medical Science at the medical school and continues to work toward becoming a physician. So there is a great medical school to join once you're in med school that I know of. He graduated in 2015 with 2 Wayne State degrees, a Bachelor of Science in both biology and psychology. He's been an RA, he's been a tutor, he's been a mentor, he's worked in the community, he's done a whole lot of stuff, and we're very fortunate to have such a dedicated Student Senate president. So Anthony, if I can have you come up here and introduce the president, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Eade.
Hello, everybody, and thank you. Good morning. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm Anthony Eade, president of the Student Senate, and I've had the pleasure of working with President Wilson for just about 3 years now. And right when you meet him, 3 things stand out. The first are his credentials, which obviously speak for themselves. The second is his love for research, which has become so much more organized since he started here. And the third is his love for student success. He really gives students support when they need it, ranging all the way from the Student Senate and helping and giving support to those things, like the Smoke-Free Initiative we talked about, all the way to individual students. Those things stand out, but there's one thing that really sets him apart, and that's his ability to listen. He doesn't just hear what students have to say, but he really listens. And from this, you can derive needs that the students need in order to succeed at this university. He's doing a great job, and I know the university is in really good hands with him as our leader. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Anthony, for that very kind introduction. Very much appreciated. And I want to thank all of you for being here, too. I really do appreciate it. Lots really been happening here at this university, and whether one has a positive view of it or not so positive view, this university has not been stagnant, that's for sure. Before I start, let me acknowledge the presence of our board chair, Gary Pollard, who's here. Thank you very much, Gary, for being here. Also, my wife, Jacqueline. So over the past several weeks, I've received requests from various people asking that I talk about this or I talk about that, which is very natural, of course. People are doing some great things here at this university, and they rightfully want everybody to know about it. And I wish I could discuss all the wonderful things that's happening and that people want me to talk about, but it simply is not possible today. So to all of you who are doing such great things to move this university forward, thank you. Thank you. I will just talk about 3 things, though. It does, first of all, let me just say, it continues to be a great pleasure for me to get up every morning and come to work knowing that I'm going to be working with such committed and dedicated people throughout the university as all of you. Now, we do have a very limited time. As Michael mentioned, I will answer some questions at the end of it, but I do want to get through 3 things. The first is our mission. Second, in order to perform our mission, we need resources, so I want to mention a little bit about our Pivotal Moments campaign and also share with you some thoughts about how we can better utilize the resources that we have. And then finally, although my intent is never to focus on just one school in these university-wide addresses, a lot's been happening at the medical school, as all of you know. And it's such a big issue right now that I feel that it would be a glaring omission for me not to address the elephant in the room, and so I will make some comments about the medical school. So first, the mission. Our mission drives everything we do. We spent a good deal of time over the past 2 years completing our strategic plan and clearly articulating our mission. I believe that you all intuitively actually know the mission. In fact, for many of you, the mission is probably the reason why you're here. But can you concisely state and articulate the mission? If someone had approached you on your way over here and said, "Excuse me, but I'm new to the university. What's the mission of the university?" Could you have articulated it? Now, I won't ask you to raise your hands or anything like that, but all of you should be able to answer that question. And why? Well, most of you know that we're currently in the midst of our accreditation process with the Higher Learning Commission, or HLC as it's called. Now, this is a normal part of a university, but it's extremely, extremely important. And a team of people have been working on this for more than a year, actually 2 years now, and will soon submit a 30,000-word report on nearly every aspect of our university, all of which are related to our mission, our vision, and values. But there are other expectations of the HLC as it pertains to our accreditation. They expect everyone who is a part of this university to know our mission. That's everyone: faculty, staff, students, administration, even the Board of Governors. And they're going to ask randomly on our campus and in our community. So my earlier scenario about someone stopping you and asking our mission could become a reality, and we must be prepared. You'll be hearing more about the HLC when we launch the communications plan in November, which will include student engagement led by the Dean of Students' Office. And while the HLC visit is critical, there's a more important reason for knowing our mission by heart, because it's what we do. Because it's more than words. It's why we exist as an institution, and it's relevant to every person on campus. It's the glue that bonds us together. So let me restate our mission. Wayne State's mission is to create and advance knowledge, prepare a diverse student body to thrive, and positively impact local and global communities. A powerful mission with 3 important parts: knowledge, education, impact. So let me address each. The first, create and advance knowledge. The university's research lie at the core of our mission to create and advance knowledge. As you are aware, and as I've mentioned before, this is an area where we have much room for improvement. According to the National Science Foundation, Wayne State ranked 43rd out of all public institutions for total R&D in 2003. By 2013, we dropped to 64th. Think about this. We dropped 21 slots over a 10-year period. Now, it's often stated that it's very difficult to move 1 or 2 rankings in the research rankings, just simply because all other universities are doing the same things that you're doing. Very difficult. Well, we dropped 21. So we need to claw our way back, defy the odds, and make up ground we lost over that decade. Now, there's reason for optimism. First, we're putting more emphasis on research infrastructure, both in terms of physical plant and people. On a number of prior occasions, I've mentioned the incredible opportunity with iBio, so I won't repeat it here. What I will mention, though, is our renewed focus on biomedical training. As one of 2 institutions in the country with both the best, meaning broadening experiences in scientific training grant, and the build, or building infrastructure leading to diversity grant, we are well positioned to expand in this area and become a center of excellence for biomedical research training. This includes strengthening our PhD programs, which admittedly have been under-resourced. To this end, we've also created a new Office of Scientific and Biomedical Training, Workforce Development, and Diversity that will lead efforts to establish and administer programs to enhance research training and career development activities for undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate students through early stage faculty. And Provost Whitfield has appointed Ambika Mather, Dean of the Graduate School, to lead this new office. Second, due to a newly negotiated agreement with the Karmanos Cancer Institute, cancer clinical trial research dollars are now being attributed to Wayne State. This should substantially increase our research numbers. And I want to emphasize that this is not some sleight of hand accounting. Other universities and medical schools with cancer centers routinely have clinical trials dollars attributed to them, so we're just catching up to the norm. Third, we have some great research faculty, and research awards have been increasing annually since 2013. But there are some barriers, some behavior barriers that we must break in order to advance in our research rankings. The rankings are based on expenditures, not awards. And unfortunately, our increasing awards are not translating to increased expenditure. We must work to change the behavior of our investigators and match the increased awards with increased expenditures. Now, our research division is not the only part of the university that contributes to creating and advancing knowledge. Examples of how we do so throughout the university, aside from traditional research, are numerous. Even our performing and creative arts programs, which arguably is as different from traditional research as anything we do, contribute to creating and advancing knowledge. And incidentally, one of the highlights of this past year for me personally was to watch our student dancers, under the creative and artistic direction of our outstanding faculty, outperform other university teams throughout the country at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. at the American College Dance Festival this spring. They were phenomenal. And by the way, the President's Preview on September 16th kicks off the theater and dance season, and I hope to see you there. Second, prepare a diverse student body to thrive. Preparing our students is a core reason for our existence. This critical responsibility falls to our faculty, and we are fortunate to have terrific faculty in all our schools and colleges. But we all have a role to play in helping our students, starting with attracting more students to Wayne State. One of our key goals in the strategic plan is to increase our overall enrollment to 30,000 students by 2021. We've been there before, but right now we're at around 27,504 as of this morning. The trend, however, is pointing in the right direction. For the first time in 7 years, our overall enrollment will increase. Now, census takes place later this week, but right now, the numbers show that we are up about 0.8%. Now, that's not a giant increase, but it's a great start, and it's a direct result of hard work by people across the campus. This year, thus far, we welcomed 7,417 new students to our campus, the highest it has been in recent years, and a 3.5% increase over last year's very large incoming class. Our increased enrollment is spread out over FIDIACs, 1.9% increase, and transfers, 7.3% increase. And our enrollment of new master's students has also increased by 43% over the past 3 years. We also have 2,487 international students from 68 countries on our campus. Now, 30,000 is a tough yet attainable goal, and we're moving in the right direction. An average of 2.27% increase per year for the next 4 years will get us to our goal. Now, I'd like to note that our enrollment has improved, not just in quantity, but also in quality. For this year's incoming class, the average GPA was 3.42 and the average ACT 23.9. That means we're attracting a higher caliber student while also remaining a place of opportunity for students who haven't necessarily been provided the best academic preparation. Student success is job number one for us, and in recent years we have made tremendous progress in our graduation rate. Our 6-year graduation rate will exceed 38% this year, up at least 12 percentage points over the past 5 years. This rate of improvement puts us in the top 20 public institutions nationally for a rate of improvement over the past 4 years. Our 5-year graduation rate will exceed 36 percentage points, up 11 percentage points over the past 4 years, and up at least 7 percentage points in just 1 year from 29% last year. Our 5-year graduation rate now exceeds last year's 6-year graduation rate. And our 4-year graduation rate has increased dramatically, nearly twice what it was 3 years ago. Now, we won't know until later this week what the official first to second year retention rate is, but as of today, the fall 2015 freshman retention is up nearly 4%. Students are earning more credits in their first semester, 11.7 compared to 9.5 2 years ago, and achieving higher grades than ever during their first year of college, 57% above 3.0 compared to 47% 5 years ago. This lays the foundation for continued student achievement and sustained improvement in our graduation rates. However, we have a long way to go. Not all students have participated equally in our graduation rate gains. While the graduation rates for Latino and Latina students have doubled over the past 6 years, our graduation rates for African American, first generation, and low income students have lagged behind. In fact, Black students are only 1/4 as likely to complete their degree in 6 years at Wayne State as white students, one of the largest gaps in the nation. This is an embarrassment for our university. It is not fair to our students, and there is a moral imperative to get this right. We have a number of initiatives that should soon bear fruit, including ensuring our undergrads have a path to a degree that can be completed in 4 years, using predictive analytics to identify students with elevated risk as early as possible, intervening earlier with coordinated support, and identifying and transforming courses that serve as barriers to students. At the same time, there's more to preparing students to thrive than merely doing what we can to help them get a degree. When they leave Wayne State, they should be ready for anything the world throws at them. Part of helping students thrive are the experiences we offer beyond our campus. We have Detroit and Midtown to offer, where students not only experience, but participate in an urban environment that is undergoing a transformation. But in this world, if our students are to be truly prepared, we need to help them broaden their horizons beyond our campus and beyond our city. Just last week, I returned from a trip to Korea and China and visited with several of our partner institutions. I believe that there are some remarkable opportunities to expand on our international collaborations. In 2015, nearly 650 students studied abroad in more than 20 countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, and Latin America. This is not enough. I've had the opportunity to study at Oxford during my 4th year of medical school, perform international research in clinical care during my professional career, and travel to countless countries throughout Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America to participate in professional meetings. And I can't overstate the impact international exposure has had on my personal and professional life. I believe that every Wayne State student should have the opportunity to study abroad. Now, I understand that may not be practical for a number of reasons. But let's aim higher. Let's at least double the number of students from Wayne State who study abroad by 2021. And equally important, let's make sure that students from disadvantaged socioeconomic and educational backgrounds are well represented among these students who study abroad. Wayne State students will be better educated and better prepared to navigate an increasingly globally connected world for having had that experience. Positively impact local and global communities, the third part of our mission. Where do we stand on that? Well, I hope our impact on the local community is obvious. And because of the time limitation, I will not waste time and enumerate our many programs that contribute to the economic, educational, health, and general well-being of our community. I think you know the things that we do here. But on a global scale, the impact of Wayne State's research and programs have been felt throughout the world for decades. But just this week, we announced the sale of Wayne State spinoff, RetroSense Therapeutics, to the global pharmaceutical company Allergan for $60 million. The remarkable technology uses gene therapy to restore vision to the blind. The significance of RetroSense's technology to the global medical community would be difficult to underestimate. Wayne State and Fudan University in Shanghai recently partnered to create a new joint laboratory, the Fudan-Wayne State Alliance for Stem Cell Translational Research Laboratory at Fudan. We've taken technology that was developed here at Wayne State and were jointly expanded in China, thereby bringing value to health research in the United States, China, and the world. Our students are proven to be leaders on a global scale as well. TIMI Global Health, WSU, just returned from a week in the Dominican Republic in August, where about 14 group members saw 439 patients. These students represent both future med students and non-med students who all share a common passion for promoting health equity around the globe. So in sum, when you look closely at our mission statement and give an honest assessment of where we're at compared to where we want to be, I would say we have a mixed bag. We are moving in the right direction and making giant gains in some areas and falling painfully short in others. But we're tracking our progress in every category, and you can even follow our progress on a reporting dashboard at budget.wayne.edu. Let's talk a little bit about resources for us to perform our mission. Amid an environment of inadequate state support and moderate tuition increases, other sources of revenue have become increasingly important. As you know, 2 years ago, we launched our $750 million Pivotal Moments campaign. With a little more than a year to go until we celebrate the university's 150th anniversary and the milestone that ends our capital campaign, I'm pleased to announce that we have made impressive progress in reaching that goal. We're currently at $590 million of our $750 million goal. Early this morning, we announced that our law school will be receiving the largest gifts in its history. Real estate developers, professional sports team owners, and proud Wayne State alumni Stephen Ross and Dan Gilbert have announced their intentions to donate $5 million each to the law school for a joint gift of $10 million. Their gifts will create the Benson Legacy Fund for Wayne Law and the Benson Endowed Enhancement Fund for Wayne Law in recognition of Wayne Law Dean Jocelyn Benson and her successful efforts as dean to elevate the law school's national reputation and prestige. It feels like we're getting close in our capital campaign, but we're not letting up. We're pushing harder. We still have a considerable amount of funds to raise, in the final 2 years. And as those of you who cycle long distances or run marathons know well, the last half is always harder than the first. And as we raise funds to meet our capital goal, we are also working to focus our current resources on areas that are critical to our mission. We're working to improve our efficiency and productivity. Now, many of you are familiar with some of our efforts on the academic side of the university, but improving efficiency and productivity are not just limited to these efforts. As a result of years of underperformance, the Foundation Investment Committee conducted an assessment of its asset allocation and investment policy. This led to many changes, including a change in the investment policy and replacing our traditional advisor model with an outsourced chief investment officer that should improve the investment returns over the next several years. The university does a lot of great things, but not all are mission critical. We must take a close, hard look at all university-related activities and consider their relative importance through the lens of our mission. In some cases, this may mean that we may need to prioritize for general fund support. It may even mean a consideration of shedding some things that are useful and desirable, no doubt, but not absolutely critical to our mission. This will undoubtedly be difficult. However, given our limited resources, we must be disciplined and focus on mission-critical areas. A few comments about the med school. As you know, that part of our university has been in the news a lot over the past year. And it may be tempting to draw premature conclusions based on what has happened in the past or what the news is reporting, sometimes erroneously. So I'd like to share some of the facts. As has been reported, last year we uncovered significant financial losses between the School of Medicine, the Wayne State University Physician Group, and a separate entity called the Fund for Medical Education and Research. When all the numbers were in, the deficit amounted to $32 million. Now, how we arrived at this situation has already been covered, so I won't use our time to go over it again. But I want to make some points about our situation now and our vision for the future. First, we made significant progress in getting our house in order. Our finances have improved. In fact, we expect to be fiscally sound by fiscal year 2018. We have instituted new processes in many areas, including, importantly, budgeting and planning. We have new leaders in place, and I have great confidence in their abilities and their integrity. We are taking on issues that have been pushed down the road for decades. We have begun to institute a new culture, one built on values of integrity, excellence, innovation, collaboration, and inclusion. These are hard things to do, and ordinarily, they would take years to achieve. But they are the right things to do, and we are doing them now, quickly. We haven't talked much about the future while we're working through these tough short-term challenges, but we are looking far beyond today's operations and even the current contract talks with Tenet. We have every intention of completing these agreements and will remain good partners with Tenet and DMC, but our vision extends far beyond service contracts. We have the opportunity to build an academic health enterprise that will be a leader in tomorrow's healthcare world. It will, of course, include our missions of educating doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and other health professionals, conducting breakthrough research, and providing outstanding care to our community. But our vision must be much bolder. Healthcare is changing at a rapid pace. Wayne State must be at the forefront of the healthcare of tomorrow. We must work to close the health disparities gap that exists, starting right here in our community. We must be the paradigm of excellence in urban health. Now, we will get there. And you can be sure of one thing. As we move forward, we will be guided by our values in every decision we make. Recently, as happens in many organizations, we drifted from our values with disastrous consequences. But our values, including excellence, which I referred to as the soul of Wayne State in my 2014 university address, runs deep. It's been woven into our DNA since our founding as the Detroit Medical College almost 150 years ago. We must stay true to them and draw upon them for guidance as we advance into uncharted territory. Our values are our North Star. We, all of us at Wayne State, starting with me, have a responsibility to each other, our students, our community, our future. And I'm confident that we are on a trajectory to becoming a preeminent public urban research university known for academic and research excellence, success across a diverse student body, and meaningful engagement in its urban community. We have the pieces in place, an ambitious strategic plan that we are systematically implementing, talented and hardworking faculty and staff at all levels, an incredible student body, generous supporters, an urban environment that is transforming and full of exciting potential. Let's continue to work together and get the job done. Now, before we leave today, I want to ask something of all of you. I want you to give some serious thought to how you can help Wayne State achieve its mission. I want you to write it down on a card we gave you as you walked in. I assume you got the card. Now, you weren't expecting me to give you homework, I know, but I really want you to consider your role in our university's mission, write it down, and keep it at your desk. And I'd like to hear from you in terms of what you've written. Please share it with me at president@wayne.edu. I know that your commitment will inspire me too. And those that inspire me can inspire others. So I'll be sharing them with you in various ways, including a blog that I'll be beginning to write in the very near future. I'm finally getting into these things, Instagram first and now, blogging and so forth. Twitter, I'm not sure about yet, but just one question. How will you live our mission? Keep this question and our mission in your thoughts, because each of you has an important contribution to make to fulfill our mission, and that is why I am so optimistic about our future. Together we can do it. Each employee, no matter what your title or where you work, can help us get there. Once again, thank you all for coming. And before I conclude, let me note that our football team is looking mighty good this year. I look forward to seeing you at our games. Go Warriors!
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we do have time for a few questions. We've collected a couple. I'll start with one that I like, that kind of gives you a good opportunity to talk a little bit more. You've been here for 3 years now. What are you most proud of, and what is your biggest concern?
Most proud of? I'm most proud of our students. I've gotten to know them each year even more. I was very impressed with them first year, and each year I'm even more impressed with them. I think that they're very thoughtful, they're very serious. As any student will have, they will have their fun times, but I think they're an unusually serious, thoughtful group. and I have enjoyed my interactions with them. I'm most proud of the students. In terms of the most significant challenge, is that what the second part?
Challenge or concern?
Concern. Yeah.
And if you have no concerns, that's okay too.
No, I have a lot of concerns. It's just, it's just, which one I bring out. I think and this is not just for Wayne State, but it's for higher ed in the United States in general. I'm very concerned about the diminishing investment in higher ed by our states, and in Michigan in particular for us, but throughout the United States. I was, as I mentioned, I was in China and Korea just this last week. And not the first time I've been there. I've been to China multiple times. And every time I go, I'm just astounded by the progress that they're making. In the 1980s or early 90s, when I used to go to China, there were so many bicycles you could hardly, drive around in a car. And now there are so many cars you don't see any bicycles. But this time when I went, I saw a change that I hadn't noticed before, and that was a change in their higher education system and how much they've invested in it, and how good these universities are. I used to go to China to teach, and now I feel like, my goodness, the faculty there are just, they boast about how many national academies members they have. They boast about the publications they have in science and in cell, and they're just fixated on improving and on becoming the best in the world. And I just have a concern that we're taking our eyes off the ball here in terms of higher ed in general and disinvesting in it at a time when we should be putting more and more investment into higher ed. And so that concern obviously spills over into the funding for Wayne State, but this is broader than just Wayne State. It's the disinvestment that this country, particularly in terms of different states, are making in the disinvestment of public higher education. I think it's a concern.
Thank you. Does anybody in the audience have a question? And we have one over here. But before you ask that question, I want to note that it's purely coincidental that the president and I are in matching suits and ties today. So,
you recently moved the social work building and are going to remodel it into a housing unit. Mm-hmm. Have you ever wanted to turn it into subsidized housing for foster care youth, so they can have a on-campus?
Yeah, we had not considered that, and actually, I think there is a need for that also. We're kind of committed in terms of the Thompson House. We're actually moving forward with a renovation now for 60. I think it's like 65 new housing units there. But I'm glad you brought that up, because I think there is an issue with homelessness, and certainly with those that are transitioning out of foster care, and so we'll have to take a look at what we can do.
I have one here that's related to that, and I see the First Lady here, so I think I'll read this. I'm a transfer student who's currently homeless. I have some needs and concerns that need to be addressed. I have to repeat my story to several different people, and I'm sent around campus to try to find help. How is Wayne State going to address this? Are they looking to having a point person that a student can see to help facilitate this process and make it easier for the students? Go Warriors. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I think there are different resources. Perhaps the best thing to do is to reach out to the HIGH program, HIGH program, and if you're eligible and can get some support there, that's one thing. But if you're not eligible for whatever reason, they often are able to find support in other ways, and can certainly at least point you in the right direction. So that's what I would probably encourage you to do.
Is there another question from the audience? You provided a lot of information.
Good.
I have, there are a couple more questions here, but they're very specific, and I'm not sure that they're overall, one of which is about public relations, and I'm happy to talk about that for whoever asked this question about our image in the news. But if there are no more questions, I think we can adjourn.
Well, thank you all very much. It's really a pleasure to continue to work with you.